Here's Bob.
Hey.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in there.
Yeah, good.
How's Cora?
She's great. She's very happily resting on the bed where she belongs. Took her out for a little jog this morning. She doesn't like to run much anymore. She's a little slower, especially when it gets hot. She just likes to go and eat plants and wander around and chase deer occasionally.
Sure.
She's doing great.
Good. Yeah. With the stockier, more heavy built dogs, like this weather, like they tank pretty easily.
Yep.
So like my 15, 20 minutes and she's like, I'm done.
Yeah. We were out for about a half an hour and I think that's about all she'll do today. She's going to crash.
Yeah. Which is plenty for her.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But maybe not for the puppy.
I know. Sometimes I wonder, what are we doing? But we did it. We did it in December, and now it's here. So I think it'll be fun. I'm concerned about acclimating to Cora, and I've read a lot about how to integrate dogs, and so I just wanted to get your feedback and your opinion.
Sure. So I guess how would you go about it?
So I've read that you should have them meet at a neutral place, like take them both to a park and have them on the leash. And I think, honestly, I think that would be horrible because Cora doesn't react well to dogs at a park on a leash that she doesn't know. Mm-hmm. And we've had friends bring their puppies here to the house, and she's much nicer to the dogs when she's in her own territory. And she's never leashed out at a puppy. And like I said, when she's at home, I've never seen her be aggressive towards a dog. So what I'm reading is kind of contradictory to what my common sense tells me about what I know about Cora.
Correct.
So what we would do is we would probably bring the puppy in and kind of cohabitate, sit on the couch. Maybe one of us have the puppy and one of us sit with Cora on the couch, and not force any interaction, but just kind of let them coexist. And we're planning to put a crate in the family room area where we're going to crate the puppy, and give the puppy crate time and not force, like I said, not force any interaction. That's what I would think we would do. What do you think?
That's actually correct.
Okay.
So people's thought processes typically, they want the happy ending at the beginning, right? I introduce my dogs and they're best friends. And it's not always how it works, okay?
Right.
And I don't care if you have the friendliest golden retriever, I treat every dog the same. I always opt for caution than to assume things will go well, okay?
Right.
So my approach is a blend of the two, okay? You know your dog better than I do, okay? So you can always adapt it to what you think is best, because there's been times where I go by my personal experience, but like you said, Cora's never lashed at a puppy in the home, right? And of course you're doing extra precautions because you said we would have them coexist first, right? Right. Which is exactly right. So I don't think that's a bad approach. I think that's actually a very good approach. So the way I would go about it traditionally would be, we're walking with Cora, you're going one way, you walk Cora on, is it the right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you're on the right side of a path, you have Cora beside, Cora, then you, then it could be Bob, and then the puppy.
Yep.
Okay. So it's dog, person, person, dog.
Okay.
And you would start off with Cora, and then Bob would just kind of walk up so that when Cora turns, like, oh, there's a puppy, right? It kind of just happens. And we just go for a long walk, come back home, right? Bring into the, you know, the living room setting, and then pick up where you're saying, where we just sit down. Cora's the same thing. If you're on the couch, Cora, person, puppy, right? And you do that for a period of time. And I personally wouldn't, in the beginning, experiment with let them sniff each other.
Okay.
It's really just getting, because you have to acclimate Cora to this puppy's not going anywhere. Okay. Because the other puppies left.
They'll leave. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of like, you know, from personal experience, like if I had someone stay with me for a period of time, at some point it kind of wears you out, because it's like, it's not the norm. You know, they're a guest, right? And like the saying, overstaying, you're welcome, right? So I'm thinking of that, where Cora's like, okay, there's this puppy, and okay, we're coexisting, and then it's like, wakes up the next morning, the puppy's still here.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
The puppy energy, sooner or later, Cora's going to say, enough.
Right. So in the beginning, I never rush things, and I do things like I don't want to say weeks as in like 20 weeks, but like at least a couple of weeks, where she sees the puppy in passing. They go for walks together. Maybe the puppy's in the kennel while Cora's laying next to you on the couch, right?
Yeah.
Like just getting used to like, okay, there's another being here, and to where she kind of accepts, right? And then maybe in the beginning, if the puppy's in the kennel or like a playpen type area, she gets up and goes to sniff the puppy, you know.
She will.
Yeah, walking away, things like that. And then after a couple of weeks, then I start thinking about closing that gap a little bit, which could be walking them closer on the walks. Like they're still with different handlers, but you know, it could be you, Cora, puppy, then Bob, you know, type of setting. And then you can always have you more spaced apart, and then you end up walking next to each other. And walking, the reason why I stress the walking is to build a relationship between dogs, or even dog human, is walking. Okay, it's from point A to point B back to A. Okay, that's an activity. So for humans, when we build relationships, you know, we can talk on the phone, we can text, we can go to the movies, go shopping, go to a restaurant, right? Go jogging. We have like an endless number of possibilities that we can do with someone else to build a friendship or build a relationship, right? For dogs, it's very minimal. They eat, they poop, they hunt it. They would hunt if they could. They play, they travel, they rest. Right? About 6 things. And people typically want the play part to build the relationship. And I always want the walking part, because it allows them to coexist. There's no pressure to be friends. It's an activity where they complete something. You know, we went here to the park and we came back, and then we went into a resting state and took a nap together. Like that's how the relationships are built. And then the other stuff comes like in time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How do you recommend that we keep them apart in the house for a couple weeks?
There's a couple ways about it. Like some people do playpens.
Like it's like some little gates up.
Yeah. The only thing about the playpen is it gives the puppy a little too much wiggle room to potentially make a potty mistake. Yeah. Right. So you kind of have to pick and choose battles, in the sense of we don't want potty mistakes ideally, but then you also have to work on just kind of easing the puppy into the environment with Cora. Right. And then your progression might be faster. Like you might see Cora warming up to the puppy very quickly, right? And you can shift according to that if you'd like.
Okay.
My suggestion is I just typically I say 2 weeks, because it takes 2 weeks for a puppy to settle in before you see the real puppy, right? And the same thing for the dog to acclimate, or like for Cora to acclimate to like, okay, here's a puppy and it's been here for 2 weeks now.
Okay.
Right? Because it's gonna change the hierarchy within the home.
Crate will be big.
Yeah, we'll use the crate for the puppy a lot, to put the puppy in the crate, and we also have a family room where one of the dogs could go hang out with the boys while they're playing the Xbox on the couch, and the other dog can be in the rest of the house.
Yeah,
so,
so I was gonna say,
too.
yeah. So you can how'd you say, switch free times, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we also have upstairs too.
And they could, yeah, the puppy probably won't come upstairs at the beginning.
Right.
And Cora could.
And when I'm working, Cora usually hangs out with me. She hangs out in her bed in the office with me. So I can keep her with me in the office on her pillow with the door closed, which is where she usually spends most of the day. And the puppy can be with the boys as well.
And
so
the
that's
boys obviously.
the boys are like the puppy sitters.
But the crate's going to be by where I'm at. So.
Yeah, so you can handle the puppy. That's good. Okay, so that's a really good advice.
Yeah. Blend. Neither, like, the other one wasn't wrong, like meeting on neutral territory, going for a walk type stuff. But in your case, in knowing Cora, it wouldn't work.
I don't think it would work. I think she would automatically get defensive, and because she always does. She does when she doesn't know other dogs, but I've never seen her get aggressive at the house. So when we bring the puppy home,
or with puppies in general.
Yeah, with puppies in general, she's usually, I've never really seen her attack a puppy. She's usually like, annoyed at them lately because they're.
Well, given how she's been a leader, my big question was about like walking them together, and you're saying we should, and that makes a whole lot of sense actually, because then they learn each other from the beginning, and it's a shared activity.
So we come home from the airport. They're bringing the puppy to O'Hare. So we bring them home and we put them on a leash. We put Cora on a leash, and Cora goes first, and then the puppy comes to catch up, and we go for a walk.
Yeah, and you're starting from your home setting, right?
Right.
So she's going to see the puppy and stuff. So you should still get that same reaction that you've seen before, like, oh, here's a puppy in the home.
Yep.
And then just right away, as quickly, like, just be ready to go for that walk.
Okay, sounds good. Okay.
And I would have, you'd already have Cora leashed up, collar on, whether or not you want her to be loose or being, because it's possible. Like, let's say Bob's holding Cora back, she's sitting down, and you walk in with the puppy, because she's on the leash. That's you may possibly see reactivity because she's on a leash. Right. So, and it's not a bad thing. Like, even if like she did bark at the puppy when she saw it and you correct it and you move on, like, that's why I take time, and that's why I do the walks and stuff like that, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I found that when I have her healing, she is really good about not being aggressive. If she's in a heel and if she's free, she doesn't, she'll be aggressive. So do you want me healing her?
Well, you can walking? Yeah, you can, exactly. So you want her, because she can be attentive to you, doing what she's supposed to, but also taking in, I'm walking next to this puppy.
Okay, so over time we could maybe walk freely, but initially I'll have her healing so that she's paying attention to me and not, and knows that she can't be aggressive, basically.
Correct. Like the exercise preoccupies her mind.
Yes.
And allow her to become like what you described is a good example. You said if she's healing, she's good. If she's not healing, right? And the reason is because she's not working. Okay?
Right.
So her brain goes, I'm on free time, so I can do what I want, and I want to bark at this dog.
Right.
So just as FYI for you, if she's not in a heel and she becomes reactive, you can use the collar to correct her.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right? Because you're telling her, yeah, you're free, but you still can't do that behavior.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. One other thing that, I guess two other things. Invisible fence training.
Sure.
When do you usually start? What age would you start invisible fence training?
Me personally, I'd probably do 6 months.
Okay.
You can call whatever. Do you have one already installed, or are you?
We do. Okay. We have one installed. Right now it's ripped up because we have construction going on.
Sure.
So it'll be at least a month till we get it back in anyway.
Okay. I'd call whoever your company is and then check with them as well. It might be younger, but I start remote training at 6 months for puppies. It can be done at 2 months, but the reason why I don't try to push it on people is because it's so nuanced and they're so worried about screwing up their puppy because they think it's like electricity, right? That I just tell them 6 months, because that's at 6 months, puppies typically annoy their owners enough that they're ready for the real training, you know?
Okay.
But in my experience, it can be done younger, but the company may say different. And then otherwise, if they say, yeah, 2 months, you can start right away, they would just, I would assume, acclimate the fence training to a 2-month-old puppy.
Right.
So,
We'll have to get the flags back out.
You know, the fence is there and Cora pretty much abides by it. She's like, will the puppy react to how she walks the yard, I'll say, or uses the fence? Will she take a cue from Cora on that just naturally?
It's possible that she'll hover around Cora more so just because of attachment.
Yeah.
But not so much because she's understanding that Cora knows there's a boundary, right? Because let's say there's a squirrel past that boundary.
He sees a shiny object, he's going to go.
Right. And then Cora's like, nope, there's something there, right?
All right. Yeah.
So that's where there may be a potential issue. So I would err on the side of teaching the puppy as well.
Okay. Go ahead.
We live on the lake here, right? And Cora's never gone in the water no matter what happens, so we don't really think about it with her. But is there any issue letting the puppy go in the lake? I'm assuming this dog may want to jump in the water and swim. Is there anything?
One would be drinking too much water and peeing all over the place. 2 would be bacteria. Yeah.
She's got all her shots and everything, stuff like that. Right.
Because like Cora, an adult dog like Cora could drink the water and maybe get a light diarrhea or something like that. Yeah. Whereas a puppy, since they don't have their immune system is not built up all the way and stuff, most likely be more affected by it. So I would prevent the puppy in the beginning till it has all its shots. And then I'd probably be around I think it's 4.5 months when a puppy is fully vaccinated, that I would be a little bit more lax. And I've had clients who take their puppies to like Lake Michigan out like in a cabin or whatever, and they drink the water and they're fine too. You know, it can go either way. So
okay. We're thinking of names, and one of the names, there's 2 names that we're throwing around.
Jesse.
And the one Jesse, it is a boy. So one of them is Appa, A-P-P-A, and one of them is Zuko.
Oh wow.
Okay, and what are your thoughts?
I like, what was the first one again?
Appa, A-P-P-A.
I really like Appa.
You do?
Yeah.
So do you think that sounds too much like Cora? Okay.
I think, yeah. Did you email me about that?
I don't know. Did. Maybe I did.
Probably.
I've heard like Zook and Zucker and Zooks. Yeah. So I think that's why I like Appa.
Appa.
Because I've never heard that name before.
And you think it's strong enough of a name that it's going to get his attention?
Yeah. You know, just condition training, you know, teaching the puppy to recognize Appa.
Appa. Okay.
Yip.
I know. Well, I was concerned it might be too, because it doesn't have a hard like consonant and a strong vowel to start the name. So I was just being over OCD, overanalyzing.
Sure.
But the boys love Appa. It's a character they like.
So we won't decide until we actually meet the dog.
Yeah. We're going to see what kind of personality he has.
I won't be offended if you go with the other name.
But he's going to be upset if we don't go with Jesse.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
That one's has a very good pronunciation. Jesse.
Jesse. You can call him Jess, Jay.
Yeah. You always respond, right?
All right. Anything else we should know before this puppy gets off the airplane?
Yeah. What do you have for diet plan for the puppy?
Oh, I've got a really good diet.
Don't ask me.
Yeah, so I've got Origin. There's an Origin food that's got all sorts of meat. The first 5 ingredients are all meats. And it's I think it's salmon and lamb and or turkey or something. There's a ton of meat. And then we got a raw freeze-dried food, kiwi, that we're going to supplement a couple times a week. Okay. And Cora's going to get the supplement too. And then I got another, so they're new, the brand is Nulo, Nulo. Got Cora Nulo food, which is also really high in the animal, I guess the protein ingredients. So and Cora has some issues with her skin. She always has. On the back of her back always has little, it's almost like little cysts. They're not cysts, but they're like more like pimples. Sure. And they get flaky and they're little, but they're gross. And they scab up, and I'm always picking on them, and she hates it when I do that. So I think maybe, yes, and I was reading about that again with the Ridgebacks, and maybe it's just, let's give her a little bit more high quality food. So I got her a really good Nulo food. It's a grain free again. And
we don't want to know what it costs.
It's a lot of money. Yeah. But the first 5 ingredients are animal, and it's not like meal. It's like, and it's got ground up bone in it. So I've got some pretty high quality food give on a regular basis, and then supplementing with this freeze-dried, very expensive stuff. So
better than you guys.
I know. So so the breeder gives them raw food, and she told me what she supplements with, and so I'm trying to maintain a similar approach without the hassle of a raw diet. Sure. So we're doing the freeze-dried raw as a supplement.
So my only comment on that is the origin.
Okay.
Okay. And this is really play it by ear. So we'll treat the rest of this, so I can just give you information so you can be prepared for your puppy. Yeah. There's origin, prairie, instinct, from there's Signature. Not Signature, there's another brand, but those brands are really high in protein. Like they're like 35%. Yeah. What I've noticed about those brands is that for puppies, they dehydrate them. Okay. Which leads to more intake of water, which leads to a lot of potty issues. Okay. And I've had this happen with a lot of puppies, and I found out just through trial and error that it was the food.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And then my theory is one, a byproduct of protein is ammonia, so they have to flush that out. Yeah. And then 2, the binding process for kibble they use some kind of glucose, which dehydrates. So when you got those 2 things together, my theory is it's dehydrating the puppy, and they're trying to flush out the ammonia. That they're drinking more water. Okay. Okay. And what happens is the owner, from experience, like they'll do everything by the book, right? All the potty stuff by the book, and they just have this food, but they're like constant potty issues because the puppy's always needing water. Okay. So in the past, I've had them switch brands, and brand is Signature. And within the week, almost all the time, the potty issues go away. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Now, we used to feed Cora Signature. It was good food.
I've had puppies eat those brands and not have the issue, but it's really play it by ear. Okay. Okay. So if you give the puppy the food and you're not having pee mistakes or things, that's what I care about. You're fine. Okay. 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 What I would also suggest is that people tend to keep their puppies on one protein, per instructions of internet. And what happens is they keep the puppy on one type of food to avoid diarrhea and all that stuff.
And they get an allergy.
Yes.
Yep. We saw that with Cora. She has, I'm pretty sure she's a chicken allergy, because we had her on Taste of the Wild, which was like a chicken something for a couple of years. And then, so I get that. I'm going to switch it up.
Yeah. Switch it up. I rotate every bag personally. Yeah. And then do you know how to transition the foods? Like whenever you switch? Okay, so as long as you do that, you're fine. And I'm not sure how many proteins Origin has, but I know Signature has like 12. Right? Yeah. And it's all life stages, so both the puppy and Cora could eat it.
We use different.
Yeah. We used different. We had the trout, and we had the kangaroo and venison. We did venison for a while.
Whatever the 3 most expensive ones.
Yeah, pretty much. The kangaroo was really expensive. But the origin is the puppy origin. Does that matter? Are they tailoring the puppy food with less protein, or?
In my experience, anybody that got food for their dog was the puppy.
Okay.
Puppy one, and they still had that issue.
Okay.
There's no literature on it. I found this out because, you know, when I lived with my stepdad, we had 9 dogs total. Okay. And we switched, and my guys were on Taste of the Wild, and we switched to Instinct. And then within the month, they started peeing in the house. You know, dogs that are fully potty trained peeing in the house. So then, and I was getting a lot of puppies that had the same issue. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. So then I was like, I think it's the food, because that's the only thing that's changed. And I switched my guys to my old food of Taste the Wild, and they cleared up. And my stepdads were still on Instinct, and they kept peeing in the house.
Wow.
So then I started asking my clients, what are you feeding your dogs? And that's when I noticed the high protein percentage. And then I spoke with a friend of mine who knows a lot about dog nutrition and just the kibble stuff. And she was telling me about the binding process, that the sugars is a possibility of why it's also dehydrating. So then I just started, you know, switching people, in almost all the time. The puppies would fix within the week.
Okay, that is excellent to know. We'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. And you'll notice, because when you feed your puppy water, like, it'll just look like it's so thirsty.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that.
Okay.
But as long as there's not potty mistakes, it's not a big deal. Your puppy will adapt. But if there's a lot of potty mistakes, then I think about switching.
Okay.
You got the rotating down. You don't free feed Cora, right?
No, we feed her twice a day, and otherwise she'd eat herself to death.
Okay. Your puppy will be eating 3 times a day.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to feed the puppy in a place where Cora can't go. So this is another thing.
Cora will eat all
So Cora's on the invisible fence. She's not allowed in the kitchen. We have the disc set up. She's trained not to go in the kitchen. So we thought we could feed the puppy in the kitchen pretty easily, and keep it completely separate from where Cora is.
I feed in the kennel.
In the kennel? Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, one of the kennel training, to build a positive association in case the puppy doesn't take to it. Hopefully your breeder is already starting this process. But if, you know, a lot of people get puppies from breeders and they're so used to just running around and being free with their litter mates, that when you stick them in the kennel those first couple of weeks, it's a pain in the butt.
Got it. And she does.
That litter's running around together.
Yeah, so they live on this prairie land. Every video we get, they're like running through the fields free with their litter mates.
So it's going to be a big shift, okay? So I start kennel training day 1.
Yeah.
Because you want to start training your puppy for what life's going to be like. Because the other thing is the quarantine. Are you guys working from home or?
Yep.
Yeah.
So what I would suggest is you take the kennel and you place it somewhere in the home that the puppy would be the least audible. Okay. So this way, if the puppy barks and you're working from home or anything, like, you can just ignore it and not care. Okay. It typically takes 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah. Can we have 2 kennels? Can we have one downstairs and one upstairs?
Yep.
Okay.
It's not a problem. I know with quarantine, a lot of people were like, I think like the shelters are empty now and stuff like that for the most part. And the issue that people don't foresee is that their dogs are going to get so used to being around them 24/7 that when they go back to their 9 to 5, it's going to be a problem.
Right.
We worry about Cora with that. She's quite spoiled with us here all the time.
And every summer when the boys go back to school and everybody, you know, nobody's around, we leave the TV on for her and try music. We do something to try to make it.
Susan wants to make sure she has her TV.
I'm like, do you want to watch Animal Planet? She likes to watch Animal Planet. Pretty sure that's her favorite show.
I never catch her actually watching it.
No, she watches it. So yeah, I hear that 100%, that we'll have to make sure that we do something. And then with Cora, we had a dog walker. I don't know, maybe we do something like that where somebody comes in
during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I've had my other puppy clients do is I tell them, You know, if you work a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, even though you're home all day, treat it like a 9 to 5. Put your puppy away from like 9 to noon or whatever. Have your dog walker come, take the puppy out to go walk and potty, back inside, back in the kennel until 5, and then go up, let the puppy out. So you're even though you're home, the puppy's away and kenneled. So when you go back to work, hopefully sooner rather than later, it's not a shock to the system for the puppy.
That's a great idea. Will there be any jealousy with the puppy being in the kennel and Cora not?
Nope.
No.
They don't think that way. Yeah. But you know, if the puppy's away in the beginning, I would expect there to be more yipping and barking because the puppy knows you're home, and it's essentially being demanding, like, hey, I know you're here. Like, why am I in this room by myself? Right.
Okay.
But you want to teach the puppy to be independent. That its barks and yipping and crying is not going to go, it's not going to be answered. Okay. So then they end up, over the course of the first 2 weeks, you should just see a decline in the barking and stuff like that. Okay.
Okay. So like 9 to noon, kennel, go for a walk, kennel for a couple more hours in the afternoon, and then mixing with the family.
Correct. Right.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. Actually, it'll make life easier too.
Yeah. And then overnight, that's really played by ear. If the puppy will hold it overnight, you know, like people have their puppies sleeping, like if she's sleeping with the kids or he is sleeping with the kids, not a big deal. As long as he's not getting up at the middle of the night to go potty. Right.
Oh, I used to.
A question for that, because we have, obviously we're getting up and working like a normal work day, but the boys are living a very casual lifestyle. So they're often up very late in the evening. So with the puppy, do we want to say, well, gee, let the puppy out before you go to bed at 2:30 in the morning, just because, or is it better to try and get the puppy to last from, 11 to 6 or whatever?
That's a good question. So I don't anticipate that would create an issue, because if the puppy's awake and active, it's kind of just a part of that process. But if the puppy were to be kenneled at 10 o'clock at night, and then one of the kids were to get up or before bed at 2:30, take the puppy out and wake the puppy up, like
they would get used to that. Yeah.
Okay. So, and you might find if you try to keep the puppy in the kennel overnight for the first few nights or whatever to see how it does, he might wake up at 3 o'clock yipping like, hey, let me out, I got to go potty. I ignore the puppy. I don't let them out.
You do?
But I don't, but I anticipate that in the morning there might be a potty mistake in the kennel.
Right.
Because I don't want to create a puppy that wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go pee. So I do.
So with Cora, I used to set my alarm for the middle of the night, and then I would get her up and take her out to pee, put her back, and then go back to bed. So that's not good then.
Well, if you don't mind it, like me personally, I don't want to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to take up
I
stuff.
know. I was very accommodating. And then with Cora, we also kept the kennel down in the kitchen area. Should we keep it should the puppy sleep in the same area like that, or can we put a kennel in our bedroom and have the puppy sleep in our bedroom?
That's typically the easiest in the beginning, is the kennel in the bedroom.
Okay, and then you can move it. Yeah,
you can move it. That doesn't matter. But you want to move it. So like, let's say the kennel is in your room, right? Or not. Let's say the kennel is like down in the living room, right? And you can hear the puppy barking, and you're tired and you want to go to sleep. So you pick up the kennel and you move it to the room. That you don't want to do.
Okay. Right. You don't want to accommodate the puppy and think the puppy then thinks he has control over.
Correct.
His position. Okay.
So, but if you before bed move the kennel from the kitchen to the bedroom, that's not a problem before the puppy goes in there. No big deal.
Okay.
You're different because you have your own standalone home. It would be more problematic if you had like an apartment or a condo, because if the puppy's in a separate room in the beginning, they typically bark and yip throughout the night, which then disturbs the neighbors, right?
Right.
So then I'll tell those clients, if you live in an apartment or condo, you have to have the puppy in the room with you in the crate because of your neighbors, right?
Right.
You guys your setup is different. So there's no right or wrong. I'm always about pushing the puppy quickly towards what life would look like.
Okay.
Right. So I don't mind in the beginning, couple of weeks, the puppy's in the kennel in the room with you to acclimate. But then after a couple of weeks, it's like, okay, now your kennel is going to stay in this room and you're going to sleep overnight by yourself. Right.
Right. Okay.
Because I want independence so that this way, especially with the quarantine, once everything goes back to as normal or whatever, it's not a problem because it's very difficult to fix.
Okay.
Okay.
So with the crate, we had Cora sleeping in the crate for 18 months before we let her sleep anywhere else.
Yep.
Is that normal?
My rule of thumb is a year.
Okay.
A year from the date that I get the puppy or the dog, they're crated whenever I'm gone. And overnight is a variable because of potty training.
Right.
So if I have an adult dog that's potty trained and is good overnight, like I personally don't mind leaving him out the kennel, right?
Okay.
Because I'm home. With puppies, it's different because of potty training, but also because of as he grows, he's going to go through a lot of chewing phases. Yeah. So he might wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and decide like, I need to pee and I'm bored, so I'm going to go chew on something.
Yeah. And I like the idea of putting the puppy in the kennel, and then you decide when the puppy wakes up in the morning versus him waking up at 4 and wandering around and waking you up. So that's another reason why I like kenneling at night.
Yeah, that's actually the best approach. But not like some people feel bad because they're crating their puppy all the time. So I have to kind of like, this is important. This you can kind of get away with. So that's good. I have no problem with that. 18 months is fine too, because it's just you're getting the dog acclimated to routine.
Right.
What life looks like, right? The other thing is, because Cora stays free when you guys leave, right?
She's free all the time.
Yeah. So when you introduce another dog, they're not free when together for a year at least. Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you're gone, the hierarchy changes, right? So like, let's say you're there, it's you and Bob and Cora and the puppy, and Cora like looks like she wants to teach the puppy a lesson. Like you're there to say, no, you're not going to do that, right? That's our job. So it's like with the kids, like me growing up, I couldn't discipline my brothers and sisters. That was my parents' job, right? And if I tried to, I got in trouble. So it's the same thing with Cora and the puppy, okay?
Okay.
In her world, they discipline each other. No problem. In the human world, it doesn't really work very well, right? So if you remove yourselves from the picture and it's just Cora and the puppy loose and the puppy ignores Cora, she's like, well, mom and dad aren't here to tell me I can't discipline you now. Okay. So
got it.
So yeah, you said at least a year.
At least a year.
Yeah, and how we would keep the puppy crated longer than that anyway.
How do we stop Cora from overcorrecting the puppy, like getting aggressive or?
What are you assuming she will?
No, I mean, what if she does? How do we stop that?
Okay, so first would be it's when you start to get to the phase of them coexisting and intermingling, right?
Right.
If the puppy is playing Cora and she's receptive, you're fine, right? But let's say you start to see Cora moving away from the puppy and the puppy continuing to pursue, right? Yeah. Cora's saying, I'm done.
Right.
Puppy's going, I'm not done.
Right.
Correct the puppy. Okay. So, because people tend to ignore it until the puppy annoys the dog, and then the dog's already tense and going, I'm going to teach you a lesson, right? And then they start yelling at the dog that's about to correct. But in Cora's eyes and in her world, that is how they handle things.
Right.
So instead, if I correct the puppy, then Cora's like, cool, mom and dad will take care of it. I don't have to worry about you. It actually makes it easier. Okay.
Do you come up with a word for the puppy that means like chill and leave Cora alone? Like, is there a word you use that, and that's what that means?
So you can use like the word no or whatever, right? Okay. But so now we'll talk about corrections. Like, so we did, e-collar training. You had the e-collar from before and all that stuff to mimic a dog bite, the contraction, the discomfort, right?
Right.
So just because your puppy is 2 months old does not mean your puppy doesn't get physical discipline. Okay,
Okay.
that's a fallacy of like, oh, you can't discipline your puppy, using physical means. That's just people being soft. Okay, because Cora will bite the crap out that puppy to teach it a lesson, no problem. Okay?
Right.
And there's videos on the internet of like puppies with like the mom, and they annoy the mom, and the mom just bites them. Yeah,
pins him down.
And this puppy apparently doesn't get correction from the mom. The mom's super laid back. So the puppy's, yeah. So the mom dog is not.
Is super chill. Supposedly.
Right. So the puppy's going to come probably without knowing what correction is.
Mm-hmm. So what I would do, and I'll send you video links so that you can get a better idea of what it is. But just take a towel or a couple of towels, you roll them up. So it's a cylinder, and you use rubber bands or hair bands to keep it shaped. Okay. Okay. And it's what we call a bonker. And you literally use it to bonk the dog. Okay. So it's firm, but it's soft.
Okay.
And you can use this for Cora as well. So you don't have to worry about having a collar on all the time and stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Or use stuff to bonker.
Yeah. So let's say let's say the puppy is starting to annoy Cora, and you see it happening. Cora's moving away. You could give your cue of no, and then you would either throw or physically just bonk the puppy firm enough that the puppy goes, "What the hell was that?" Okay. Your puppy might yelp. Your puppy might look timid, skittish, what people call fearful. Ignore it.
I don't.
Okay. It's the response to the physical discipline. And what you should see is the shift in behavior where the puppy goes, I wanted to play with Cora, but not anymore, right? And it's momentary. It doesn't mean it's going to be a permanent thing because you put a cue on it, right? So the next time when you see, or let's say the puppy's chewing on the couch, right? Bonk. Okay. If the puppy goes back to chew on it after the correction, that tells me the correction was too soft. I bonk firmer. Okay. And in the videos I'll send you, I know the word bonk is so silly. In the videos I'm going to send you, it's how to make one, how to use one, and then you're going to see a trainer actually using the bonker. Okay. And he uses considerable force. And you're going to see the puppy look very timid. And everybody always goes, oh, the puppy's scared. Okay. It's not scared, it's cautious. Right. If you're going to change a behavior, you have to see caution first. Okay. Otherwise, you'll find yourself always having to correct your puppy and it doesn't retain anything. Okay. So over time, what we should see is the puppy starts to recognize if I chew on the couch, this happens. I'm just not going to chew on the couch then. If I annoy Cora too much, this happens. So I'm going to stop my behavior once I start to see Cora respond a certain way so I don't get this response.
Okay.
Do we want to let the puppy interact with Cora and see how it goes, see how Cora reacts and let Cora actually correct the puppy the first time, or just to see where her limits may be before we start correcting the puppy ourselves?
So it's like a yes or no answer. Mm-hmm. Because typically when a dog corrects one, it looks worse than it is. Yeah. So that people stop it, right? They like, no, when they make this big thing. And the puppy's perfectly fine, right? The puppy's yelping, screaming and all that stuff, and the dog look hyper aggressive, but they're fine, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the way we translate things. So that would be bad in the sense that you make it a bigger ordeal, right? Or Cora may overcorrect, right? The assumption is she's not. Right. But I'm going but if she does, once it happens, it's too late. Yeah. Right. So I know people, the common process is let the dogs handle it. And I go, no, because you don't know how the dog's gonna handle it. And then when it's too late, it's too late. Right. So it's like with kids, it's not amongst the kids to regulate themselves. It's always to the parents. Right? The parents lay down the rules, the parents do the discipline. So in this case, Cora and the puppy are like 3 to 4 year olds, but the puppy's obviously younger mentally. but they're going to be constantly 3 to 4 year olds in their brains. So it's just, you're always having to be that parent. And there's the chance that Cora will correct the puppy and be perfectly, how do you say, normal, well balanced. You know, my just thing is that, well, if it, that's what we're hoping for, but what if it isn't?
What if it isn't?
Yeah.
Okay. Helpful.
Yeah, the video helped clear things up when you see it. And you would use the bonker for anything that you don't like. Chewing, barking at you for attention, annoying Cora, jumping on people, you know, you just, because it's one correction for a multitude of behaviors.
Okay. We used a vibration collar for Cora to stop behaviors. Is it kind of a similar thing?
Similar. So for Cora, she was receptive to the vibrate, right?
Yeah, she hated it.
Yeah. So you could technically do the same thing for the puppy, right? But it could either be the puppy just doesn't care, or the puppy cares in the beginning, but then over time outgrows it.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas the bonk is a physical, like kind of like being spanked type of thing.
Okay.
There's no right or wrong.
I may have trouble bonking, but
you wouldn't be the first person. You know, and then people use the can of pennies, right? Like there's a lot of things, but typically when I work with puppies, in my experience, it starts with the softer end of correcting, and it doesn't work. And finally, like, Jesse, we just need an answer. I'm like, all right, now you're ready for the bonker.
You're ready for the bonk. Okay.
That's why with remote training, I said 6 months, right? I was like, because it's enough time for the person to be annoyed by the puppy to think, okay, I'm ready for the next step.
Okay.
But, you know, you're not going to physically or emotionally or mentally or psychologically damage your puppy. You know, dogs don't read books on how to raise their puppies. they just know. They bite them. They correct, you know, even puppies will bite each other and correct each other. It's all part of their, you know, how do you say, their learning process.
Yeah.
And your puppy could be a super soft personality where you could just give a stern no, and maybe it's super receptive to it.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just giving you that end result of, if nothing else works, you can do that.
Okay. That's great. That's great.
Other question?
No, that's all I had.
Anything
else we're missing?
Do you guys know how to potty train?
Yeah. We pick the puppy up and take it where it should pee. And I think we started with Cora with the puppy mats, but we didn't even use them very long. We just saw the pee and we picked the puppy up and took him outside.
Actually, just before I move on with that, do you have any rugs or carpets?
We do.
Okay, I'd either roll them up, cover them in plastic, or keep your puppy out of those areas, because your place is hardwood with like the occasional carpet or rug, right? Is that your puppy will be walking around and go from hardwood floor to absorbent surface, and just go like, oh, is this grass?
Time to pee.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So he will ruin a rug if given enough opportunity.
Okay. I hope he potty trains as quickly as Cora did. Cora potty trained so fast.
I hope so too. It could be quick. It could be a long time. So
yeah. Okay.
I don't like training the puppy to let the owner know when they got to go potty, because then when you don't see the cue, the puppy will just pee or poop. Or two, you're teaching the puppy to tell you what to do.
Right.
Right.
I think we had set a timer last time, or like every hour and a half we would take Cora out to pee. And we just set a timer. Is that good?
That's what I do in the beginning. I do 2 hours, so I go according by the age of the puppy. So the general rule of thumb is an hour per month is what the puppy is capable of holding it for. So 2 months, 2 hours, 3 months, 3 hours, right? So on and so forth. So you do the same thing, put your timer on, and this only applies when you're home and your puppy is awake and active. Doesn't apply overnight, okay? Or when your puppy is kenneled throughout the day, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Okay, that's the exceptions.
Okay.
So if I wake up on a Saturday, I take my puppy out at 7 o'clock in the morning. I feed the puppy at 7:30, and then at 8 o'clock, I will take the puppy out again to potty, because they typically have to potty 15 to 30 minutes after eating and drinking.
Okay.
So at 8 o'clock they go. I know my puppy is empty. Back inside. Next outing is at 10 o'clock. I set my timer.
Okay.
Take the puppy out at 10. The puppy pees. We know they don't have to poop. We're good. Back inside. 12 o'clock. Right. Now, let's say at so let's say I take the puppy at 12 o'clock. Next outing's at 2 o'clock. But at 1 o'clock, I see the puppy looking suspicious. Like it's got a potty, sniffing and walking away, right? I pick up the puppy and I put him in the kennel for that last hour. Okay, because I'm trying to teach the puppy to go on a schedule and to hold it.
Okay.
So most people see, oh, you have to go potty, let me run you out. But the puppy never learns to hold it. Okay.
Okay.
And it's very common when people have a yard or a patio. And the next thing they know, their puppy's having to pee every 2 hours, even as an adult.
Got
it. And then 4 weeks later, the schedule becomes every 3 hours because now the puppy's 3 months. 4 weeks later, every 4 hours. Okay. When the puppy is created overnight, you don't have to do the 2 hour thing. Like I said, during the 9 to 5, those are times when you're killing the puppy beyond 2 hours, which is actually teaching the puppy to hold it for longer because they don't want to pee and poop where they eat and sleep.
Right.
If your puppy soils the kennel, our inclination is to clean the puppy, clean the kennel, and let them out. I don't do that. Okay. So if if at 12 o'clock I took the puppy out, at 1 o'clock they look suspicious, I kennel, and the puppy pees in the kennel. Right. People clean the puppy and all that stuff. But what happens is the puppy may learn if I soil the kennel, I get to go free. Okay. It doesn't learn if I soil the kennel, I have to sit next to it for an hour and that's gross. I'm not going to do that next time. Okay. And I do this in the beginning when they're small because it's an easy cleanup as opposed to later on and when I'm still working with trying to establish potty training and it's a bigger dog to wash. Okay. Because in training, there has to be a balance of both positive and negative to teach things, right? So the aversive here is if you soil your kennel, you have to deal with it for X period of time. So the next time the puppy thinks, I'm going to try harder to hold it. Okay. And there, so like, let's say you guys are going to leave on a Saturday, you're going to be gone for 5 hours. Your puppy's on a 2-hour schedule. You don't need to come back home every 2 hours. You would just run your puppy out to potty before you leave, put him in the kennel, leave for 5 hours. If you come back and there's a potty mistake, no big deal. Clean them up, clean the kennel, run them out, start your clock, okay? Because it's during those times that the puppy learns to hold it for a longer period.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. After waking up from a nap, after high activity like running around, playing, or a walk, after eating and drinking, puppies typically have to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye out for those things. Look for suspicious behavior like sniffing the ground, walking away from the family towards the hallway is usually a sign that the puppy's going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So always assume puppy's going to go to the bathroom, put them away. Don't bring them back and sit them next to you on the couch or something like that, because I've had clients who've done that and the puppy just potties right next to them. Okay. And then we just see what happens, but that's the general rule of thumb.
Okay, great.
Other than that, I think that's for getting started. You know, to start your crate training, feed the puppy in the kennel, isolate certain treats to the kennel. So like, let's say during Monday through Friday when you put the puppy there.
Kongs, messy Kongs with peanut butter in them. That's what we did with Cora.
Yeah, well, you only get this Monday through Friday while we're working.
That's right. Okay. That's right. We did that with Cora, and we still do. We'll give her a Kong with a frozen banana in it, but she's much more, I guess, she's clean about the way she eats it now. So I would never have done that before when she was a puppy, because banana would have been everywhere. So yeah. So we freeze fruit in a Kong. Yeah,
that's fine. And then I'd give it a couple of weeks. We've given complimentary Zoom sessions to all our clients before this whole thing hit. So you have another one with me.
Yep.
So I would say give it 2 weeks once the puppy comes home. to just kind of see how the food's working out, seeing how Cora and the puppy are acclimating to each other, how potty training are going. So at this way, 2 weeks is a good enough time that things are going to pop up, but you should have enough questions for that next session.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll reach out to Maria and schedule something in a couple weeks then.
Yeah, okay. And if you need anything else, you just let us know.
Thanks, Jesse.
You're welcome. It was good to see you, Bob. Take care.
Good to see you. Thanks a lot.
Take
Jesse.
care.
Take
Glad
care.
that you're healthy
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
and safe. Bye.